Greetings, Ian from RTO. Hope you're all well on this Tuesday, and it is Valentine's Day. Got something special for that later. But we're going to start today with another of the John Mitchell story, and we're up to part number 4. I have to check because there's so many parts of John Mitchell. Now this is another band that John got himself involved with, and this band are called Frost. Now Frost are an English neo-progressive rock band or supergroup formed by Jem Godfrey. Now Jem Godfrey is the man that produced and got Atomic Kitten. So apart from being a progressive, he was a pop writer, and he created pop hits for Atomic Kitten. So he got together a band with members of Arena, Keno, Craig Blundell from Keno, IQ, Andy Edwards, John Mitchell, of course, from Arena and Keno. So they made one album and split up. They made an album in 2006, split up, and then 2008 they got back together, but they added Darwin radio vocalist and guitarist Declan Burke and released another album, and then the band disbanded again, then to reunite later in the year, and then had some more albums. So they've been, well, make an album, split up, make an album. So why don't they just say they've got the things to do? Don't split up, just say, oh, we'll come back and make something. But that's the hazy days of rock and roll. Now, up to date, they have made 4 albums. So we'll have a look at these 4 albums. So coming in at number 4, we have the 3rd album released in 2016 called Falling Satellites. On here we've got Jem Godfrey on the pianos and keyboard, Chapman Railboard on vocals, John Mitchell on electric guitars, violin and vocals, Nathan King on the bass guitar, Craig Blundell on drums, Joe Satriani plays guitar solo on track 7, and vocals also are done by Tory Beaumont on tracks 5 and 4, or track 5, sorry. Okay, First Day is a very short harmonised intro, really good. You know, you've got John Mitchell can sing, got obviously Chapman Railboard. So yeah, was short, some lovely keyboards from Jem, nice track, very short though. Numbers, this is an interesting track. It's got this fanatic beginning, and then it goes into this nice gentle track, nice harmonies, strong track. Tower Block, I don't know what this is about, not very good. It's more dancey than rock, not for me, not my cup of tea. Then we get my favourite track, Signs. Really like this one, some great guitar work here from John, great vocal as well, really solid track. Then we get Lights Out. This is quite a pleasant track. It's got a bit of poppy element on it. The vocals sounds more like Ray Wilson, so it's pretty good. I don't mind that. Then we get Heartstrings. Pretty good, bit poppy, very upbeat, not too bad. Closer to the Sun. We have got some more poppy element to it, a little bit of dance. I'm not interested in that one much though. Then we get this track called, it's quite a long track, it's called The Raging Against the Dying of the Light Blues in 7/8. Great track, very proggy, like that one a lot. Then we get Nice Day for It. Love Craig's drumming in this, very good drummer. The keyboards from Jem are brilliant in this, a really good track, one of the best tracks on the album. Then we get Hyperventilate very short sort of track, lots of dramatic keyboards. The Last Day, like this, it's a slower track, very arena for me, very, very good. Then we get Lantern. The arrangement is really different, and there's some nice harmonies on this, really good. And the last track on here is called British Wintertime. Really strong track to end the album. The keyboards and Jim are really good on this, pretty solid track. Okay, there's certainly some experimental stuff on this, and I didn't like it. This is an album that I only like one or two tracks off it. I very, very rarely play this album. The last few tracks are pretty good, but on the whole it's an album that doesn't get much airplay for me. So I will give this an RTO ranking of 3 out of 10. Coming in at number 3 then, we have the 4th album, and it's the most current one. Fourth, it was released in 2021. There's no drummer on here as such. They just got people to come in and help, and it also has got narration from actor Jason Isaacs on The Boy Who Stood Still. So the band for this one is Jem Godfrey on keyboards, Chapman Railboard on vocals, John Mitchell on guitars, Nathan King on the bass. Drums were provided by Pat Malasso, Kaz Rodriguez and Darby Todd. First track is called Day and Age. This is an epic. It's a good track, good modern day prog. Lots of delicate keyboards, some really nice guitar work from Mr. Mitchell. Really good track. I like that one quite a lot. Then we get Terrestrial. The start of this is really strange. You thought, what's going on here? But all of a sudden it turns into a really good track. Strong vocal on here. Another great guitar work from John. It's Chapman Railboard. Really good singer. Excellent track. Waiting for the Light. Not one of my favourites. It's a little bit dreary. Lacks a little bit of substance. Then we get a really good track, The Boy Who Stood Still. I think John Isaac's narration on here really adds to it. It's got an interesting drum beat to it, but it's got a really good guitar solo from John on it. Island Life, I love the bass line on this. It's got a really nice melody on. Excellent track. Skywards. Really good track, got a nice melody, well put together. Jem Godfrey's a really good song arranger, and that's a really nice song. Then we get my favourite track on here, Kill the Orchestra, signature John Mitchell guitar work. Some great got Jem keyboards, really good. Then the next track is the last one on this one, Repeat to Fade. It's got different sorts of elements. There's sort of that bit of Muse sort of sound, which they do better than Muse. The rhythm is very Peter Gabriel. That's why I like it. And the backing vocals on this are strong. Good track. I'd say Frost were definitely on back on form after Falling Satellites and that experimental pedal. This is a solid rock album, and I really enjoy this one. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 2, we have the debut album from 2006, Milliontown. On here is John Mitchell, guitars and vocals, John Boyes on guitars, Jem Godfrey on the keyboards and alto vocals, John Jowett from Arena on bass, and Andy Edwards from AQ on the drums. Now there's another version of Hyperventilate on this, which is the best version. Pretty good track this is, a good way to start it. It's got all them elements of all the bands that are involved in this, putting their ideas together. Really good track. Know Me, Know You, another good track. The harmonies are really good. The one thing about this band, the harmonies are always good. And I think that's a lot to do with how it's produced by Jem Godfrey. Snowman. This isn't too bad. It's not the Snowman, the song. It's a strange sort of thing, but it's okay. The Other Me. Love this. It's got a funky soul sort of feel to it. Then we get Black Light Machine. A killer track. Another epic. John Mitchum solo in this is just absolutely brilliant. I just love this. Lots of good prog elements in this. Swirly keyboard, some great drumming from Andy. Bass line from John, spot on as well. Then we get my favourite track on here, and it's the epic Milliontown. It's 26 minutes. Oh, it's just modern day prog. That's wonderful. They get the starts of them, nice gentle start, then it keeps building up. Some great guitar licks from John. Super drumming from Andy Edwards. And John Jowett's bass. You know, it's just a really good track. And then to throw in Jem's swirly keyboards. I was so impressed with this. I just brought, this is one of them albums. Oh, John Mitchell's on it, we'll better buy it. Oh, it's got Andy Edwards on it as well. Well, this will be a good album. Yep, it is. That's my favourite track. Love this album. This is, again, as I've just said, purely brought this on the people in the band. Wasn't disappointed. Really good album. And I'll give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. So number 1 is their second album that came out in 2008, and it's called Experiments in Mass. This is the one that Declan Burke does lead vocals and acoustic guitars, John Mitchell guitars and violin, backing vocals, Jem Godfrey on the keyboards, John Jowett on the bass, and Andy Edwards on the drums. First track is the title track, Experiments in Mass Appeal. Love the start of this, it's very gentle. Acoustic guitars here from Declan Burke, really good. And then it comes to life. Great guitar solo from John, brilliant track. Welcome to Nowhere. Again, this one starts off nice and gentle. Then the brilliant riff from John that sort of wakes you up again. Very, very good track. Pocket Sun. Oh, Andy Edwards drumming, brilliant. Great drummer from IQ. Some great keyboard work here from Jem. Very good track, one of the best tracks on the album. Saline, a very gentle track. Some lovely vocals on this. Nice backing vocals, a real gentle song. One of the best. Dear Dead Days, frenetic start. The keyboards and guitar work on this is absolutely amazing. It just seems sort of keeps going backwards and forwards in this sort of tempo. Very clever how it's done. Very, very good. Falling Down, not a particular favourite of mine. It's listenable. Then we get this little short thing called U/I. Short little piano piece, and then some spoken word from Declan. And then Toys, another of those songs that I'm not keen on. It just a bit disjointed, that's all. But then we get the absolutely gem of a track, my favourite track by Frost. It's a 15-minute epic called Wonderland. Amazing track. It's John's best playing on the album and his best work he did for Frost. Just classic prog sound, some lovely piano here from Jem. John Jowett's brilliant bass, absolutely classic modern progressive music. Fantastic album. Yeah, love this album, very consistent, some great playing on this album from John. Some of the best tracks by Frost are on this album. It's just absolutely brilliant. They sort of moved on. They sort of took what they did on that first album and made it even better. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, that's all for part 4. Next week is part 5, and that's a band called Blind Ego. Now, John was only involved in one album in Blind Ego, but they're a pretty good band. It's the brainchild of Karl Heinz Voulaner, something like that. Really good guitarist. So we'll look at that next week. I'll be back soon, and it's retro ranking today, and as it's Valentine's Day, I thought I'd pick my top 10 love songs. Yes, Iain has got a heart. He doesn't think everything's wishy-washy, so I'm going to I've picked some of my favourite love songs for you. So I'll be back for that later. Bye for now.